Good evening, and I thank you again for clicking on my channel. So I just finished watching Office Romance, which is currently on Netflix. Netflix original romcom, and it stars none other than Jennifer Lopez and Brett Goldstein as like the main leads, and you have other people, and they're like Betty Giplin. I think that's how you Gilpin. Not really familiar with her. Then you also have Edward James Olmos. It's a reunion with Jennifer and him. He was in Selena, played her father as well. Um, and Bradley Whitford. Um, he's pretty well known. Tony Hill, Tony Plana, and a few other people, which don't really know, but we can get to them in a few. So the premise is Jackie, who is the president and CEO of Air Cruise, ruins a night ship in her business, including a rigid anti fraternization policy for all her employees, which is severely tested when a sexy new lawyer begins working for her. Um, so oh, I'm not really familiar with Brett Goldstein, but apparently he is funny, being in like Ted Lasso. Um, he's been in Thor, Super. Was it Super Bob? Shrinking. And he's also in this new movie, which is the detective. I'm sorry, the Sheep Detectives. So, yeah, I was very unaware of him. But yes, so he's actually he's actually pretty funny, oddly enough. Um, but yeah, I've never seen Ted Lasso, so apologies for those who've seen that show. Um, but so yeah, so that's the premise. And JLo is back in her rom com era. Um, she's pretty much like the queen of rom com. I think the last movie I've seen of hers, if I'm not mistaken, um, that was a rom com. What was that? Marry Me. I didn't really like that one. I didn't care for that one too much. Um, and I was like, after that, I was just like, okay, maybe her peak is over. She's just like, she's not really doing it. Um, but this one was actually not a bad movie. I wouldn't say it's like the best movie ever. Um, but it was um it was pretty decent. It was a decent watch. I had a few good laughs in there. It was a few parts that were a little raunchy, a very unexpected, if I do say so myself. Like there's a scene in the movie where he's shaking her hand, um, Daniel, that is. Daniel. So Brett Goldstein plays Daniel. Jennifer Lopez plays Jackie. So Daniel was shaking Jackie's hand, and almost immediately he gets a boner, and you see his boner through his pants. Um, I'm just like, wow, they went there, you know. You know, some things were just like, okay, like, you know, hiding it and you don't really see it. Okay. Even um Betty Gilpin, who plays Sydney, she is um kind of an assistant, but she does a lot more for Jackie. Um, but she's like, she gives Daniel some shit. she's she's actually pretty funny. Like, again, I'm not aware of her. Let's see what else she's been in. Um, Hunt, The Tomorrow War, Isn't It Romantic? Glow, I've seen Glow, and I've probably seen her and was very unaware of it. But she's pretty funny herself. And she's like about to pop. She's pregnant, and everybody's telling her like, you need to go home. Like, just take some time off, and once you're ready to have the baby, you know, take that extra time off. She's like, no, once I have this baby, I'm coming back to work the next day. So her water broke in his office, and she is literally crowning. And I don't know if I've ever seen anyone crown so fast in a movie. And literally they're showing the head coming out of her. I'm like, what the fuck? It was some wild shit, you know, and I don't know that I was ready to to see that, but it happened. It was there. And I applaud for people taking a um bold steps to make things funny, you know, to let it really go there. And yeah, like I said, it was a pretty funny movie. But yeah, so it's a kind of a cliche rom-com movie. You know, like, you don't typically want to fall in love with somebody, but you end up doing it, and then they end up together in the end. Cliche, cliche movie. But nonetheless, it was pretty funny, and great to see Jennifer doing her thing again. Um, and you know, it's a tale as old as time. You know, like, you may have some feelings for somebody in a work setting, but it's those barriers that you can't cross, or you shouldn't cross, and then you have to deal with HR. Could get fired, could get written up, I don't know, you know. I personally never had um feelings for anybody at work, nor have I ever wanted to date anybody from work. So, I guess that's a blessing in disguise, I don't know. But I've definitely known some people who really can't keep it in their pants when it comes to um, being professional, you know. And I'm just like, wow, like, some Some of these people are like real sluts, like real just uh, uh, I don't know. But there was a scene, again, speaking of HR, where Daniel, and apparently, and because I heard this again from another British guy who is who plays He-Man in Masters of the Universe. He says, which I hate saying this word, but I'm going to say it just for the sake of saying it for this scene, that saying cunt is like a term of affection in England. And I'm like, well, not here in the in the U.S. That is just like you calling someone that, like you're asking for trouble, basically. And he was wishing someone a happy birthday, and that was Henry. And he's like, "Oh, way to go, cunt! Happy birthday, cunt!" And then immediately, it's like everybody was just looking at him, just like, right to HR. And he's like apologizing. He's like, "I'm so sorry. Uh, when you're back home, cunt is a term of affection. Cunt just you like just saying it like, oh, love you, cunt. Way to go, cunt. And he's like, stop saying it. It was pretty funny. So yeah, there was definitely some moments in there. But again, cliche um rom-com film. And sometimes I do wish, and this is why I'm just like I'm not the biggest rom-com fan. Um but I wish people would take the time to do something original that like it doesn't sometimes it just doesn't always work out. um like you love someone, but you don't always get a happy ending, and it's okay. But yeah, I don't know. I just I like what I like. Everybody likes what they like, and rom-coms just I can take it with a grain of salt. Like if it's a good movie, I'm like, all right, yeah, it's a good movie. Like Pretty Woman or um, 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 um My Best Friend's Wedding, Made in Manhattan, Monster in Law, whatever. Those are like some really good ones. But again, most of them are so cliche. And I feel like people have done so much, and it's hard to outdo what has already been done, if that makes any sense. But let's get to these reviews as I typically do. And apparently some people just aren't liking this movie. All right, so this one says 5 out of 10, one-time watch. The 2026 Netflix rom-com is a middle-of-the-road endeavor that unfortunately prioritizes glossy production value over genuine heart. It is a visually sharp and high-quality film that focuses on a forbidden boardroom relationship between a workaholic CEO and an ambitious company lawyer, proving that even a star-studded workplace setup can get heavily bogged down by an identity crisis. Jennifer is exceptionally good as Jackie Cruz, carrying the film with the total comfort of a veteran romance lead. She brings a genuine, unpolished vulnerability to her character's isolation, looking spectacular while doing the heavy lifting to ground the narrative. Betty Gilpin provides a brilliant and high quality backing as the sarcastic colleague, effortlessly unpolished script. Did I missed his name. Effortlessly stealing scenes and delivering the script's few genuinely funny highlights. However, the film suffers from an unpolished script and incredibly uneven tone. Co writer Brett Goldstein struggles to find his footing in the lead role, resulting in an awkward dynamic where the central romantic chemistry never fully ignites. The writing tries to force a raunchy R-rated edge onto a standard formula, relying on predictable workplace jokes and a random profanity rather than clever storytelling. While the high quality cinematography gives a movie a polished look, the narrative lacks the necessary warmth and spark to stay memorable. It stands as a fair one time watch that the work is easy background viewing, but ultimately fails to deliver a highly satisfying comeback for the genre. Um, I pretty agree with that. I mean, it is a one time watch. I don't think I'd watch it again. And that's what I mean. Like, it's so hard to do what's been done. Like, it, you have so many classics. Like I said, like Pretty Woman. Um, I think Pretty Woman is like one of my favorite rom coms. And it's hard to top classics like that. And so when you're trying to, write something clever and witty and hope to be a classic, sometimes it just doesn't always land. This one gives it an 8 out of 10. Great watch. Normally having very little time for rom-com movies, but this was surprisingly enjoyable. Good story and well acted with a strong supporting cast. Very funny on several occasions, and Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso is proving to be a very good comedic actor as well as an excellent stand-up comedian. Definitely worth a watch. See, that's how I should say how little I know about him. I didn't even know he was a stand-up comedian. Wow. Okay. Um, this one gives it a 7 out of 10. More Brett Goldstein gold. I watched this only because of Brett wrote and stars in it, and as usual, I was not disappointed. And to boot, the man has managed to make me like J Lo again. If this is the return of rom-com, then I am here for it. Great cast, non-cringe writing, and use the amount of the word cunt makes this a cute watch. Um, yeah, I mean that's how I kind of also how I felt as well. I mean, I didn't have high expectations with this movie, and I think that's maybe probably why I liked it a little bit more. Is having very low expectations, and I think that's sometimes the best way of going about watching certain things because the less or I should say the least of expectations you have on something, sometimes that's the best way of looking at something. Um, this one also gives it an 8 out of 10. Fun romantic comedy. I figured this was gonna be really terrible, but I always liked any movie that JLo was in. This did not disappoint. It was very entertaining, great, light-hearted romantic comedy. It's not something I would watch again, but one time viewing was enough. Give it a try if you like JLo. You will enjoy this. Yeah. Um, Another 8 out of 10. An amusing romantic romp with some star power. For me, Brett Goldstein is the star um, of this film. I first fell in love with his acting uh, in Ted Lasso. I followed his varied performances with with his stint in Shrinking being a standout, I'm probably biased towards British humor due to my hysterical background. J Lo is, as always, proficient in acting. Um, but if you want to see a spark, Brett is your man. He makes this light rom com more memorable than it really deserves. If you have any prediction of British humor, this more a cup of tea than usual U.S. fare. Um, I don't. It's hard to say if this is gonna be memorable. Like right now, I'm like, because I just watched it, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. But I don't. Again, I think just because this is for me, honestly, this is a one time watch for me. Um, but hmm, maybe to some people. Last but not least, this one gives it a 5 out of 10. Not a great script. Script could have been being a lot more intelligent, and the chemistry was not there. It's really stupid movie and totally unbelievable. Comes across as a silly tale. Supporting acting was good, and there are some funny moments. I am really surprised people rated this so highly. The jokes are so cheap and slapstick. Quite disappointing. Okay, let's be honest now. What rom com have you seen that is really logical? Like, come on now. I mean, most movies these days, especially comedy movies, rom com, aren't believable. They're there to make you laugh. They're there to make you um make you think you can have something, but it's just really it's illogical. You think most people are going to um quit their job for someone? Hell no. Like they're like, babe, I love you, but I need my job. Sorry. And maybe that's just me being me, because I'm just like, look, are you gonna pay for me to quit my job? Just saying. Just saying. But anyway, yeah, I mean, overall it was a really cute film. Um there was quite some funny moments in there, and yeah, overall, let's see, what would I give it? Maybe like a 7 out of 10. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I didn't have high expectations for it, and again, maybe that's why I liked it more than I intended to. You know, I don't know. But if you've seen this film, let me know what your thoughts are. Um, and if you do plan on watching it, also let me know your thoughts. And please comment down below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And see you next time, right? All right. Bye. Mwah.